another episode of With the Chiefs.
Wait. Man, I need more rest.
I hope I've got your last name right there.
It's a very good pronunciation.
You should know better than that now, Donald.
I know.
All right.
I'm just wondering where you've got it all from.
Yeah.
What have you dug up here?
Just running.
Okay, good.
Oh dear. All right, welcome back to another episode of With the Chiefs. Today we are lucky to be joined by Anthony Wood. Ant is a member of Delta Running Project with personal bests of 16:41 in the 5K, 34:26 in the 10, 77:31 in the half, and 2:45:12 in the marathon. Is that right?
That's right.
Okay, I got it right. On top of Ant's running, he's a coach to some fellow Delta runners and is in the process of completing his level 1 and 2 coaching certification with Athletics New South Wales. So today we're going to chat about everything running. So welcome to the show, Ant. Thanks for joining.
Thanks, Luke. Thanks, Dom. Good to be here with you guys. I've actually finished my level 2 now. I finished that in March. So
Oh, nice. Okay.
yeah, I've got that, which is great.
So I did get it.
You were close.
Yeah, I was close. Normally we just start with a training update. What's been happening with you this week?
Okay, so I'll just have to have a bit of a look, but
Yeah.
I've had a bit of a little bit of a bumpy training couple of weeks since Shell Harbour Marathon. That was 2 weeks ago. So the first, let's just have a look back through here at Monday. Monday started well, 55 minutes easy at around 5:20 pace, and that's just my standard route that I do down to Manly Beach from my place. So I've got a really good route that goes from my house down the Spit to Manly, past Manly Wharf, and all the way down to Queenscliff Surf Club, and then turn around and come back. That's pretty much exactly 10 and a bit K.
Yep. Do you ever run with Georgia?
I do. Yeah. Sometimes. Yeah, we used to do a bit of running because she's at Fairlight. So
Right, okay.
Yeah. So that was Monday. Tuesday we had the Delta session. Which was 3K, 1K, 2K, 1K off a 500 metre jog.
Was that yours session? Because you called it.
Yeah, I came up with that session.
A good session.
Yeah, it was a good session. Yeah, the 2Ks were a bit intense.
Yeah. It was good.
500 jog can go pretty quick. So
Yeah.
But yeah, that was a really good session. I was running with Georgie Gibson and Cinny in that session. So
Very nice. Yeah.
yeah, it was good. It's the beauty about coming back from where I've been sort of 9 months ago is that I've got to run with a lot of different people in the club.
Oh, yeah.
You know, so I've sort of started towards the back of the group, and I've just been chipping away slowly, and it's actually been really enjoyable getting time with different
groups.
people.
Yeah, that's good.
Which is great. That was an 8.5K session, averaged 3:55s for that, so I was pretty happy with that one.
Yeah. How long after the marathon was that?
So that was about 9 days, Dom.
Oh, okay. Gee, yeah.
Yeah.
Solid nice.
So
Do you have DOMs or anything at that point?
no, I felt pretty good.
Yeah.
I've had a bit of a niggle in my right foot, Luke.
Yeah.
Which they thought was like a stress reaction after the marathon. So
Yeah.
I couldn't put any weight on my right foot the next day.
Oh.
Okay.
And they worked out it was sort of, I'm not too familiar with the anatomy in the foot, but at the top of the big toe where it meets the other bones there, halfway up your foot, I just had a lot of pain there and underneath in the arch. So
Okay.
it was a bit unusual. And the first week after the marathon, I just took it very easy. I only did, I think, 2 runs in that week. I took my daughter away up to Coffs Harbour. And so this week was supposed to be my first decent week back.
Yeah. Okay. So that cleared pretty quickly then, the reaction.
That did,
relatively,
yeah. So I don't think it was a stress reaction. I think there was just a bit of soreness in the foot.
Yes.
And now the Achilles is sort of fired up as well. So that's been the issue towards the back end of this week. But yeah, like I was feeling great Monday, Tuesday. Tuesday session, I was really happy with that, being able to push the heart rate a bit higher.
Yeah.
and then obviously, warm up and cool down. So
How did your heart rate go on the 1K?
I can check that because I have to wear my heart rate strap pretty much every run. I'm now stopped wearing it on some of my recovery runs if I know I'm just taking it really easy. So heart rate. Sorry, it'll take me a minute just to look this up.
What do you is that Strava you're looking on?
Yeah, Strava. Yeah. So in terms of heart rate, let's just have a look. So my average heart rate was about 161 and I maxed out at 172
Nice.
for that. Yeah, so I would say in the 1K, Luke, probably around the 170 for that session.
And what are you keeping it to? What's your
So
range?
170 is really my absolute limit for now. My max heart rate is about 185.
Okay.
Yeah, which is, I'm 48 years old, so it's going to be a bit lower than you guys, but
It's pretty high, though.
still rereasonably high. Yeah. So if I in those workouts, if I see that I'm constantly checking the watch for the heart rate. If I see that I'm getting towards 169, I know just to dial back the effort a little bit.
Yeah.
Just to try and make sure I don't tip over that 170.
Yeah. You must be an expert on feeling like the threshold, where the threshold heart rate is at this point. Yeah.
Pretty much. Yeah. Like I could tell you what my heart rate is almost without looking at the watch. So I know when it hits 140. I know when it's at 150. I've got a pretty good gauge of that now.
Yeah.
And it's the bizarre thing is I never used to look at heart rate.
I
completely ignore heart rate.
Yeah. So the and the chest strap's been very accurate.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So I wore an arm strap for quite a while. I think it was made by Polar. And that's pretty good, but you've really got to get it on the right position on the bicep to be able to pick up that pulse rate.
Right.
If it starts to rotate slightly or move around, it can get a little bit flaky and intermittent. So I find the Garmin chest strap works really well for me.
Yeah.
I don't get any rubbing or irritation. I've heard of some people getting a bit of irritation from that, but no issue for me.
Yeah. All right.
I'll carry on with the week.
Yes.
Interrupting you, but
no, that's all right. I did a weight session on Tuesday afternoon. I like to do my strength. I try to do that on the same day as my sessions.
Yeah.
And then allow a bit of recovery the next day. On Wednesday, I had my MLR, which was slightly lighter because I'm still coming off the back of the marathon. So I had to squeeze in an hour and a half while my son was training at PCYC for basketball.
Oh, yeah.
Which is always a bit tricky because if you're doing a loop, you've got to make sure that you get back in time before he finishes his training.
Yeah, otherwise standing up. Where are you?
Where it starts ringing me. So what did I run? Just over 17K, 455. So an hour 24. And that was up around Narrabeen Lagoon and back sort of via Collaroy and the beach. Thursday just took it very easy because I was really feeling the Achilles by that point. I did 60 minutes and that was up at Avoca. We're up there for a weekend away with the family and some friends. That was at 5:39 pace.
So you felt the Achilles on Tuesday after the session?
I felt it not so much after the session, more on the longer run, Luke. I noticed it was like a probably a 3 out of 10 after that. I thought that's getting pretty sore. And then I did the 60 minutes and it was on the Thursday and it was really starting to irritate. So
okay. What does it feel like? Is it sharp pain?
No, it's just a dull pain, and it's around the Achilles at the back. So
okay.
Is it kind of like creaky, sort of, or
no, not so much. Dom.
Yeah, right.
I've never really had Achilles pain, so it's a bit new to me. But
okay. Or does it warm up at all? Like when you
It
run?
does.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm guessing because of that, it's tendon related.
Yeah.
If it warms up through the run, the problem is after the run, it can get very sore. So I've been trying to ice it and look after it after each of the runs. But on I think it was Friday. Yeah, Friday I tried to run. I only made it about 7-8 minutes. 8 minutes of running.
Okay.
Yeah. Right.
And it's like, this is just way too sore.
Yeah, okay.
So I got off it then.
Yeah.
And I thought, I just need to listen to the body and let it tell me what it's telling me and just get off it. And then so yesterday I didn't run at all. And then today I got out for 15K at lunchtime.
And it settled.
And it felt okay. I think taking the Saturday and Friday and Saturday pretty much off it has really helped it settle down.
Yeah.
It's still there, but I'm just going to have to nurse it for a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What are you planning for next week in terms of like just take a few days easy?
I'm not very good at that, Luke. I'm really keen to get back to volume. It's always the same with me. Like I have a race and then I'll deload for a week or so, and then I'm really keen to get back in and get the volume back up there. So I've got an entry for Hocker.
Nice.
Which is probably not going to be a great idea with a sore Achilles.
Yeah, a few hills.
With the hills, but we'll see. I think if I run it, it'll just be more to enjoy the atmosphere and and just have a good time and be out there with everybody. Yeah, so
that'd be good.
I don't know how this week will look. I'll tell you after I see the physio tomorrow, Luke.
Yeah, okay. All good.
Yeah.
All right. What about you, Dom? How's your week?
Yeah, it wasn't too bad a week. Monday has been bumped up. I think we started off doing 75 minutes and then it built to 80 minutes and now it's at 90 minutes. So it was 18...
Monday?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
18.7 Ks, which is just like from my house, go around the bay, and now I've added on the Greenway bit as well. So it's been...
So you're just chucking on bits.
Yeah. I'll end up running all around Sydney eventually. Then Tuesday was Turbo, which was 30 minutes tempo, but to make it a bit more exciting for everyone, we did half a lap on, half a lap off, which was pretty cooked actually.
These turbo sessions are always...
it's hard because everyone was like wanting to do more like 10K stuff, and I had like half an hour in my program and I was like, okay, we'll just do half lap on, half lap off, which was good. Like everyone can do it together, and I guess if you can kind of do it however you want to as well. Like you can go really hard and go easy on the offs, or because I was doing more of a thresholdy tempo sort of thing, the offs were still fairly quick, but that meant that I ended up blowing up a bit because we went out and really kind of attacked like the half lap. It's half lap on, you're gonna go quick.
Yes.
And then tried to hold the floats as much as possible, but ended up just sort of falling off a bit towards the end. But it was still good. I think still got like good fitness from it. Averaged I think like 3:22s for the half an hour, which is
very good.
I was happy with that. Then Wednesday started feeling a bit sick. My brother was sick on the last weekend, and I think I just got his cold, which is kind of inevitable when you're living with someone and they get sick. So that was kind of annoying. It wasn't too bad though. It was just a cold, but I decided to just stay away from it and just take a couple of days off. In the past, I've tried to run through colds, but
miserable.
It's just a big risk. Like you end up going backwards by like a week or two, whereas if you just take your time, you're probably going to be a bit safer. Took 2 days off, which was Wednesday and Anzac Day, annoyingly. Then Friday went out for a jog and felt okay, and then got out again that Arvo and jogged again, and I felt like I was kind of chasing Ks,
Yes,
which
yeah.
is like probably not the smartest thing to do.
We do.
So then, Saturday got out and did an easy 22 Ks, did the 7 bridges, which is a nice run. And then did the long run today with Smitty, which I didn't really know what I was doing. So I jumped in with Matt Gore and did maybe 4 Ks of his workout. And then we like passed Smitty and I jumped in with Smitty for like, I think maybe 6 Ks.
Yeah.
And then was really struggling. I think like all the sickness and everything, I just didn't have that strength yet. And then probably all the running I'd done to kind of catch up the week.
Yeah.
Was feeling it towards the back end, but still closed out the long run solidly. And then got out for an easy shakeout double this afternoon as well. For a total of, I think, 122 Ks in 5 days, which is
That's pretty good. How
Yeah.
big was you did total? What was total long run?
I think it ended up being like 35, 36 Ks.
Yeah. I thought so yeah, because you were still going when we were.
Yeah,
Yeah.
2.5 hours, so it was solid.
So how much have you run yesterday and today, Dom? 'Cause that's going to be pretty...
I think it was like
He doubled as well.
Yeah.
65 or 70 Ks or something. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
So it was a big weekend, yeah.
Yeah.
You got any soreness, like any niggly stuff, or not really?
Not really. When I was sick, I was actually I'm kind of like Ant. I think I need to be doing something. So
Yeah.
I picked up the weights and just like did some weights here and there, which helped a bit, and was like stretching and stuff like that. So
Okay,
yeah.
I felt pretty good. Like I didn't feel sore or anything when I was running. But yeah, usually that stuff kind of takes the back seat.
Yeah.
Did you feel too sick to get out for a very easy jog, Dom?
I probably could have, but like I've had like a bit of asthma in the past, and it's just it was just a bit too risky, I reckon. I probably could have though. Like it was pretty minor sort of cold.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I just played it safe.
Do you normally? How do you approach when you're like got a bit of cold?
I think definitely like jog light, you know, like you really don't want to be doing too much. Yeah. So I would just get out. My classic is down at the local park, just doing some grass laps, really, but really not worry about pace. Like just get out there and say, I'm going to do 25 minutes and see how I feel, or 20 minutes. And, you know, if the watch says 6-minute pace or 6:30, it doesn't really matter. It's just about, you know, ticking the legs over. But trying not to expend too much energy. Because your body's obviously using that energy to fight the germ or bug that you've got. So
and it's kind of tricky though. I feel like when you're starting to get sick, you can kind of get away with it, but then there's like a real fine sort of like tipping point when you get like too sick to run. And like I felt like that happened within the space of a day. Like I felt okay, I was getting sick in the morning, and by the afternoon I was like, oh, I don't feel too good. So like it's kind of hard to pick and choose, and I just felt it was safer to take it easy. Yeah. But I don't know. I don't think there's any right or wrong way to do it, really.
And you may have got through it quicker by taking those couple of days off.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Have you got COVID before? Yeah.
I've had COVID once.
Yeah.
And I, unbeknownst to me, ran a half marathon training run with COVID. Up at Surfers Paradise. Yeah, we were away with the family, and there was a bit of coughing going on, and I just felt really fatigued. And I set out and I was like, it's Sunday, I'm got to get a long run in, even though I feel dreadful. It's the Gold Coast, it's flat, it should be fine. And got out and just literally drank gallons of water. Like I've never been so thirsty and felt so fatigued.
Yeah, right.
The 21K felt like 42 on that day. Like I still remember that. And then tested the next day, and that makes sense. That's why it felt so hard. But only once. So grateful for that.
Yeah.
Good.
What about you, Smitty?
Me.
How's your week been?
Week's been good. It's been a good week. On Monday, I've been doing just like pretty much consistently just doing 45 really, really easy. It pretty much feels like just like a day off in a way. Like just let the legs tick over. Don't focus on pace or anything like that, especially after Sunday. So then Delta session courtesy of Ant, which we already know what the session is. But yeah, 3K, 1K, 2K, 1K, 500 jog. I mean, I took the jog really slow. So I treated it like a VO2 max session pretty much.
And that was the idea,
yeah. Which was really good because you could really work the effort. So I think a lot of what we do is threshold or what I've been doing at least is like threshold with shorter rest. So it was good to mix it up.
Yes.
And like really work the 1Ks. One of the best sessions I've done, the 3K was 9:31. 1K was 3:01, 6:18 for the 2, and 2:55 the final K. So it's like, I was thrilled with that session.
That's really impressive.
Yeah. I'm kind of was worried about pushing it too much because I've had the issues with my hamstring, like just because there's top end speed on the kilometer repeats. Yeah. But I felt okay. And yeah, I would say it was a good confidence booster leading into, because we got Hocker half coming up. So yeah, it was a good session. I doubled as well. It was the first double I've done in the training block. So I got out in the evening for 6K, sort of at like 5-minute pace. And then we went to the gym at Fitness First. It's been good going. We go with like Matt and Gaddy after work. It's a 40-minute session on the watch, but we're doing a lot of chit-chatting going on. But it makes like gym fun. Like I hate doing the gym here on my own. Even if it's like 20-minute session, I'm like, I don't want to do it.
Yeah.
But after work, it's a good way to like switch off work, for example, and just have a laugh. We do the Bulgarian split squats. So 3 by 10 with 10 kilos. So 20 kilos. Bent leg calf raises 3 by 15 with 10 kilos. Single leg deadlifts, I think remaining deadlifts. And then the deadlift with the hex bar. I think I did that at like, I can't remember, either 40 or 40 kilograms or a bit more maybe. But that's good. That's been, I'm always pulling up sore though. That's the problem because I don't do it frequently enough. Yeah. But then we went out for, next day was an MLR, 19.5 Ks at sort of like 5-minute pace in the city. There's been a good group going out recently. A lot of the Delta crew. After the session, I've definitely pulled up slow and sore, and that felt like a grind at 5-minute pace. But not bad sore, just like between DOMs and like just really heavy legs. Then I got out at 60 minutes with Matt and Tobias in Willoughby. It's a little bit hilly. I know Matt Gore's been trying to get me out to his hill session, so I'll take that as that's also a hill. Running easy on the hills is, let's call it hills. I felt like just heavy legged. Then we did 4 by 7 minutes the next day around the bay, which was good. We had like Justin, Scotty and Aaron out.
That was Thursday?
That was Friday.
Friday.
Yeah. So the Thursday was...
Thursday with the hills.
Yeah. I was really sore, like really just still heavy legs. I don't know. It just felt like, because I went from, the last week was 90 Ks because I was worried about my hamstring and stuff like that. And this week was set to be like 120 Ks. So like there was an up in volume. So but I felt okay aerobically, but it was like more of a just getting through with heavy legs. I forgot what that sort of felt like mid-block. Like I feel like I've managed it pretty well so far. But then I had like a really good 9-hour sleep that night, and I felt better, like still a little bit sluggish, but I felt much better the next day running, which was good sign. I did 60 minutes, And then, today we did a long run. It was really good. We did, 8K, it was meant to be, it was 8K, 6K, 4K, 2K with a 1K float, targeting marathon pace. Had Chris there, Tobias and Shibi as well, the guy that's just joined Delta, the Japanese 218 guy, who he normally does a run crew session as well. So he's he did that on tired legs, but we did we managed the pace as well. Like kept it around like 3:30 for the first one, 3:31 for the second, and then 28 for the third, and then I like just went into a different zone on the last one down to like 3:24 pace. So it was really, really good, really promising. I bought those Nike tights,
Aeroswift tights?
Yeah, that's so good.
They're great.
Do you wear them?
I wear them. Yeah, I wear them for sessions and racing. Yeah.
Yeah, they're good. No chafing, and they got the gel storage.
Yes.
In the back. So I was worried about like if it would be awkward to take it out, but I took 3 gels, and the only issue was I couldn't see which one was caffeinated. So I like had Gaddy, and I was like, what colour is this?
I think the key is to remember where you position them when you put them in.
Yeah.
And you go, okay, I've got caffeine on the right, non-caff on the left.
Yeah.
Like remember when which is sometimes the brain doesn't work so well when you're mid-session.
When you're mid-session, yeah. Do you take Morden?
I do.
Yeah. They're good, right?
They're great. Yeah.
I had no... I feel like that kind of session was really... Like, I was really specific with trying to, like, test for what it would be like on race day. So I was like, okay, get the tights, get the gels, see what they're like on the stomach. Stomach felt really good. And Alpha Fly 2s felt really good as well. But I will probably race in Alpha Fly 3s.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's a pretty big session this early in the block, I was thinking. Like, that's, fair bit of work in that. So, what's the thinking behind that, Luke?
So, we've done... the way we're doing it is there's like work at marathon pace, and then some are just easy time on feet. So it's like a week between.
Yeah.
That's definitely the biggest workout I've done on a Sunday. The next biggest one was just 7K marathon pace, because I was meant to have a big 16K marathon pace, but then I pulled up sore with my hamstring.
Oh, yes.
So I missed that.
Okay.
So that was definitely, I was concerned about like how that would go, because it's, like you said, pretty meaty. But the idea is to just get used to what marathon pace feels like, and hopefully I'm not going too close to thresholds on those sessions, so it shouldn't bang the... I mean, it's still a lot of distance, but it shouldn't bang the body up like a Tuesday, or like if you were trying to push really hard.
That's right.
Yeah. But a good week, and I'm really toey to get to the start line of Hoka next week.
And what will a good race look like at Hoka for you?
Dear idea.
Has to be asked.
PB.
Yeah. So I'm not 100% sure, because obviously everyone says it's quite, hilly. But like the way I've been running in sessions and stuff like that, I know I'm a lot fitter than I have been in the past, particularly when I run my half marathon PBs. Like Tuesday gave me a lot of confidence, and so did Sunday, because just in that zone, similar to Josh a few weeks ago, he's running paces which are well above his expectations on PBs and stuff. So I think I honestly don't know, like, because maybe like low 320s and try and hang on.
Okay.
But definitely want to adjust to how it feels in the race. So sub 72 hopefully.
Nice.
Yeah. Anyway, that was a long training recap, sorry.
No, that's good.
Okay, well, good training weeks. Now, Ant, let's go into, so how did you get into run? Do you remember when you started? Like, Yeah. So why did you get into it? And stuff like that.
So I started running probably when I was about year 10, so about 16, 16, around that age. Or maybe a little bit before that. I never liked track at school, but I really enjoyed cross country. And there was a guy at school that I really wanted to beat, who was in the year above me. So I just put in a little bit of training. I didn't do much for it, but Dad used to run with me a bit, and that was great. We did a bit of. So we'd run together, and then we'd also do one or two little sessions with Wollongong Triathlon Club down there.
Oh yeah,
because I grew up in Wollongong. So we used to get out for probably only 2 or 3 runs a week, really. But that was back in the day when there were no GPS watches. I'm talking about 1990, sort of around then.
Yeah.
I could remember thinking on Wollongong Cycleway, we used to run with the triathlon club from like light pole to light pole, and we'd do say 2 on and 1 off, and they were the measurements for the intervals.
Yeah, okay.
Nobody had a watch.
Yeah.
Or if you did, it was just a Casio.
Yeah.
sort of thing. So I remember doing that, and then I did have a few good results back then, Luke. Like I went to regional cross country, then I made it to state, which I think was somewhere in near Summerhill, Box Hill way back then. I didn't do too well at state, but really enjoyed the experience. I got into the preferred group for City to Surf. So I did, I think, 2 City to Surfs back when Steve Monaghetti was smashing it.
Yeah. Do you remember your times?
It was 48 something.
Jeez,
that's wow.
Pretty good. Yeah.
And there were no super shoes or anything.
Yeah. Jeez.
I remember having a pair of Nike Air Huaraches, which look actually more like basketball shoes. When you look at them these days. But I did a 6 mile race down in Wollongong that I podiumed at. I would have been about 16 back then, but I think that I remember the time was a 33:10 for 6 miles, which is about, I had to look it up, it's
pretty
about
much 10k,
9.6k.
Yeah. Okay.
So it's sort of, I guess when I went to uni in Bathurst, I didn't really run up there. I got involved in rugby, more a social feel, put on a fair bit of weight. Playing rugby as you do,
of course,
that sort of lifestyle. So studied journalism up at Bathurst at Charles Sturt Uni. Came back to Wollongong and then started an apprenticeship in carpentry. Didn't really do any running throughout my whole trade, but I guess there's some merit in
the
physicality of trade work.
Absolutely.
If you look at a lot of tradies, I think you were talking about a tradie.
Yeah, there's a guy I run with. Yeah. He runs like, I don't know, 50, 60 Ks a week, and he smashes me in workouts.
Yeah, there's a lot to be said for it. Just what are you doing? Pouring concrete or smashing up timber frames. So, yeah.
How come, if you don't mind me asking, you went down that, you didn't like journalism? Or
I always wanted to go into building when I was young, because we had a family building business. So I felt drawn to that.
Okay.
I went to uni, I was encouraged to go to uni because it was as far as my dad was concerned, probably a better way, an easier way to earn a living. Building's very hard on your body. So, so I did that, and then I eventually came back into building. So, when I was 20. And then I had bouts I got involved in surf boat rowing with Wollongong Surf Club for a while. My wife and I, Sue and I, lived in England for 6 years. During that time, I did a little bit of running. But, I was, just more into sort of unhealthy habits, I guess.
Yes.
A bit more than a social smoker for probably about 20 years. And as an asthmatic, that was just a really poor kind of lifestyle choice. And then when I turned 40, I thought, right, I need to sort my life out here. You know, this is not looking good. I developed a really chronic cough at around 40 years old, and I had some scans of my lungs, and I developed a chronic lung disease in my right lung. So
quit the smokes.
Yeah, so they were gone, and then it was I went to a respiratory physio who had to work with me to get my lungs healthy again, essentially.
Right.
And she convinced me to buy a fitness tracking watch.
Oh yeah.
Which I didn't know anything about, so I went and bought a Fitbit. And yeah, I was having to start doing some steps. You know, she said, you know, you've got to. This is my physio said you've really got to do. I want you to get 10,000 steps in a day, and I thought, oh, that's going to be pretty hard, but I'll give it a crack.
Yep.
And then, so I suppose at around probably when I turned 41, I'd started to do a bit of walk jog, and I thought, yeah, kind of remember this running motion like from when I was younger. And then kind of built up the distance from there. So I guess I've been back into it now for 7 years, really. Yeah, and never looked back. You know, like it's just been such a great joy to have it back in my life. It's just been awesome.
What was the process like for you quitting smoking? Because I used to smoke, not like maybe for like five.
For a while.
Yeah, for a while.
Yeah.
Like similar to you, not just a social smoker, but not like pack a day.
No,
so
that's
like
right.
Probably
yeah.
like 3, maybe even 3 packs a week, something like that.
Yeah.
Was me. So what was your process of like quitting?
So for me, I tried nicotine replacement therapy on and off, like patches and stuff, Luke. And I tried gum. None of that really worked for me because it was almost prolonging the addiction to the drug, to nicotine. The only way I got through it was by reading a book which dealt with the psychological addiction to a chemical. So
is that Alan Carr?
Yeah, Alan Carr. The Easy Way. Which was an awesome book to read, and it changed the way I think about.
I actually did the same thing.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
Yeah, but I've still had issues with it, like as in drinking and stuff. But like when I'm have my full mental facilities, like I don't crave it like I used to. So it was a really good book.
Yeah, great book.
Yeah.
That's. I mean, might as well finish off the rest of the journey if you want me to. In terms of, since then, I guess running. We took a family gap year in 2019, and so we travelled around the world with 3 kids, and schooled 2 of them as we travelled.
Wow.
Which was amazing, and very, very lucky that we did that in 2019 because just as we got back to Sydney, COVID was really kicking off over in China. And during that gap year, I was probably running a few times a week and doing a lot of calisthenics workouts because I didn't have any equipment, and calisthenics was something that I could easily find on YouTube and follow along to workouts. So I had a really good balance going there in terms of strength and running, and I had no injuries or anything because of that. And then, really, it wasn't until probably 2020 when, I started doing park runs, local park runs.
That's how it starts.
That's how it starts, And then somebody said, a friend said to me, why don't you come along to Kirribilli Runners? And started with KR back then, and
What was the process to getting towards like structured training?
Well, I think my time at Kirribilli, it was the start of the structure, Luke, because it would give me a 10K run on the Monday, and then it would give me a 6.5K run on the Thursday. Apart from that, I'd just put in different runs depending on how I felt. Didn't really understand the concept of sessions and long runs at that point. It was more just running, say, 4 times a week. And doing probably 60, 70 Ks absolute max. I think I sort of got up to about 80 Ks before my first official marathon in Melbourne.
Oh, yeah.
And that was in, 2021, December.
Okay. And, sorry, so no session? Just...
I don't think I did any sessions at that point.
Okay,
yeah.
so just jogging.
I might have...
like...
I might have done a few. Yeah, no, I don't think I did. Yeah, it was mainly just jogging.
Okay.
But I would run some of those KR runs at quite a fast pace, and others I would do a bit slower. So, there might be a week where I felt a bit fresh and I'd give it a bit of a hit out.
Yeah.
But yeah.
And how'd you go in the marathon?
So 2:54 in that one. Yeah,
That's pretty solid.
Wow.
Yeah.
And it was really surprising. Like. Yeah, I think there's a lot to be said for mileage, and I've heard people say it before. So there were no sessions in there. It was 80 Ks a week, but it's just about consistency when it comes to that.
Yeah.
And, I paced the Melbourne Marathon really well to get that.
Yeah.
And I remember getting to the finish line and thinking, that was pretty easy. Like, that felt pretty good.
Yeah, wow.
Like, it was sort of surprised myself with that one.
That's pretty serious for the first one, and especially no session. Well, not like targeting those specific big long runs and all that sort of stuff.
No, that's right. Yeah. I mean, I did 3 months or a couple of months before that. I did a Father's Day marathon on my own.
Oh, okay.
My wife said to me, what would you like to do for Father's Day? And I said, oh, well, I think actually I'd like to run a marathon. And she said, okay.
You're like, oh, that's not what I was thinking.
Where? And I said, well, I've had a look on the map, and if I run from home in Balgowlah up to Avalon and do a few loops at Avalon and come back to Manly, I think that's going to be 42.
What was Sue's reaction to that?
And she's like, okay, so what do you want? What should we do? And I said, well, it'd be great if you could meet me at these 2 points with the kids and give me a bit of banana. So no gels.
Yeah, a bit of banana.
And then, it was quite funny. I ran it in New Balance Rebels.
The Chris Gatt shoe.
Yeah. So they were like the version 2 or something, I think, back then.
How'd you go?
So it's around 3 hours 15.
Wow.
On the hills. That's pretty hilly, right?
That's super hilly. Yeah.
How did you feel? Like, how did you feel during that run?
I felt good until I got to around Warringah Mall, and I had that run down through Manly Vale to Manly.
Yeah.
Down through Queenscliff. So I felt all right. Yeah, the hills were tough, but I was feeling okay.
What point how far in is that, would you say?
That'd be about 38 or something.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so it was a good way in.
Yeah, you got far through. Okay.
Yeah.
And what was your reaction after that? Were you like, I want to run, I want to keep doing these? Like, I want
pretty much. Yeah. I was just, this is great. Okay, let's get some steak on the barbecue and have a nice big lunch, and and then I want to do more of this. This is great fun.
Yeah.
There was something I forgot to mention actually. When I was younger, I was in Scouts and Venturers.
Oh yeah.
And my dad was a Venturer leader. And they used to organise these 50-kilometre walks down sort of west of Nowra on fire trails. Mm-hmm. And that was probably my first introduction into that kind of endurance type activity.
Yep.
Because I did one or two, and then I thought, I wonder if I could jog that distance. Like, I wonder if I could actually be the first person to finish it. Mm. And so then I think I ran the first one in maybe 4.5 hours or something.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, and that was back then when I was sort of 15, 16 years old.
Jeez.
Oh, wow.
And I also remember doing a 30K run from home up to a scout camp at Cataract Dam. And that was just on my own. I think I just felt drawn to those longer activities.
Mm.
Yeah.
So when I did that first marathon on Father's Day, I just thought, this is me. This is my distance. This is what I want to do.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. So that was a few months before, and then you did.
I did Melbourne.
And then where'd you go from there?
And then the next year, I was targeting 2:45 at Gold Coast for July, and that was 2022. Ran with Aurelie in that race.
I remember that.
And I got to, I think, I don't know how many Ks it is when you pass the start line. Is it like 30 or 31?
So there's actually, because I was there at 32K, I was with Arthur.
That's right.
And I remember him running on course with you. Yeah, anyway.
Yes.
Yeah.
I remember that. Yeah.
I'll let you explain it.
So Aurelie was running next to me, and we got into a really good rhythm at around 3:45, 3:48 pace, which was solid.
Yeah.
There were a few warning signs. I had 2 or 3 stitches within the first 18K.
3:45 pace. That's like a 2:40.
2:40. Yeah.
Right.
So we were going. It was too quick for me. I can't remember what Aurelie ran in that. I think it was maybe 2:42 or 2.
Yeah, I don't remember, but I remember she had a cracking race.
She had a great race that day. Yeah.
Or 44, mate. Oh, I can't remember.
No, but I got to the 32, and I got to a drink station, and we're all in quite a big pack, because you can find a good pack at Goldie.
Yeah.
And I slowed down a little bit just to get in for the drink stop, and grabbed a cup of water and drank it, and it was just enough for me to fall off the back. And it was just that tiny mental break, just enough for me to start thinking, I haven't quite got this. I haven't quite got this, and I can't get back on. And it got into my head. Yeah. And then I think when I saw you and Arthur at 32, it was like, this isn't going well.
Yeah.
And then I had some really severe cramping that day, Luke.
Oh, yeah.
My left hammy, just the whole hamstring was just in a ball. It felt like I had a softball in my leg. And so I would stretch, then jog for a bit, stretch, jog, and that was a 2:48.
Yeah, wow.
And I was,
but I know how you ran that last year.
It's funny, like, you can have really good experience off the back of a race, or you can have a really disappointing experience, and I think it depends on where your expectation is at. So for me, I was so fixated on the 2:45 for that race. When I crossed at 2:48, I just broke down emotionally, and I just felt crushed, which is ridiculous, right? Like 2:48 is a great time for,
But when you put so much energy into like 2:45, I know, there's not much you can say.
No.
It's weird though. I feel like I've come like short of my goals before as well, but like it's when if you still give it your all and you actually like completely go to the well and rinse yourself, you kind of, even though I missed my goal, I was like, oh, like I'm still happy with that. Like I gave it everything. Whereas like if you cramp or something else, or you mentally sort of aren't quite there, you can run the same time and walk away feeling like, oh, that was shit.
That's right. Yeah, it's interesting.
Were you, because I remember that was 32K, so you battled just through the last 10K.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
When it goes downhill, it can be tough.
It can be very tough.
Yeah.
So sorry, that was a bit of a long-winded story of my running. But
So what? Okay, so leading into that, how did you start? Because then you would have joined Delta.
Yeah, so I started with Delta. I'd started before GC in 22. So I must have started running. I had a look around February 2022 with Delta, and then. I was, I think at the time, being coached by Jerome. I can't remember. Maybe I was coached a little bit after that. I'm not sure. But I went on to do Sydney Marathon after Goldie. Yeah. So that was September. And then I took the pressure right off myself and just thought I'd go out and enjoy it. And I still ran 2:48. So, and I felt great afterwards. So.
And probably like a tougher course and everything as well.
And it was a tougher course, Dom. So it's
Interesting. How was it different? Yeah, so mentally the approach was different. So you relaxed.
Yeah, I think I just relaxed. I think sometimes we can put too much pressure on ourselves, and then, when we fall apart, it's just not great. But if you take the pressure off, you can often run a better race because usually the fitness is there if you've done the training. So, yeah.
Did you change anything in training leading up to that one?
No, I don't think so.
Not really?
No.
So just kept the same sort of training.
Yeah.
So what was your pre-Gold Coast, obviously coming off Melbourne and then into Gold Coast, what did your structure sort of change to? Was it the classic Delta Tuesday?
Yeah, so Delta Tuesdays,
Yeah.
and then I was by that point introducing the long runs on the Sunday.
Yeah.
And then I can't remember if I did Friday sessions or not, Thursday or Friday sessions then. Maybe it was only the one session Tuesday and the long run Sunday.
Yeah. And what would you do on what were some of the long runs you typically do? Sessions in there or?
Back then, no, I don't think I was doing many sessions back then.
Time on feet?
Yeah, just time on feet. So 28, 30K, 2 hours. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
And then, so that's September, then you ran your PB.
I did in New Zealand.
In New Zealand. What I just wrote New Zealand. What's it called?
It was a place called Wanganui.
That's it.
Which is
I didn't try and pronounce
tiny
it
little town.
Yeah.
It's not that small, like a small town.
Yeah.
That's where Sam Hopper's from.
Oh, right. Okay.
No way.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Why did you choose that one?
Because it was a qualifying event for the Abbott World Age Group Championships.
Right.
So they have a point system. I don't know if you guys know about it, but they have a point system for age group champions, and it's a global point system. And if you get into a certain sort of, let's say the top, 600 for your age group, then you get invited to one of the world majors that's hosting the age group championships. So Michael Turner from Delta, he mentioned it to me, and he said, you got first in your age group for Sydney, so you've got quite a few points there. If you have a look, you might be able to squeeze in another marathon before the end of the year and qualify then for Chicago the following year.
All right.
So I jumped onto the Abbott website and had a bit of a look, and I said, there's one in New Zealand. Okay, December. Yeah, that could work. So I booked my flight, booked my accommodation, and then I flew into, I think it was Auckland in the north, and then had to drive 6 hours south.
Jesus.
Did family come with you?
Solo mission, Luke. Yeah.
Sounds like a solo mission.
Fly in, fly out. Rented a little banged up Corolla from the airport.
Nice. Was Hopper there? Or?
No, he wasn't.
Right,
no. And I went down, and I think before New Zealand, like after Sydney, I realised that I had to really work on the strength. So I started doing a lot of, split squats and squats and all sorts of exercise. I just thought I need more muscle strength towards the back end of the marathon. I just felt like I was a little bit weak in that area.
Yeah.
So I did a lot of that leading up to New Zealand, and then I really scoped out the course the day before. I wanted to understand every little turn, where the pinch points were, and it was a 4-lap course, and there were some under and over bridge sections that we had to do, and a couple of little hairpin turns. So it wasn't the easiest race, but it was generally flat. But the problem was it was a small event. So what that meant was nearly the whole race was running solo.
Jeez.
Yeah. And I finished, I think I finished second overall for that one.
Yeah, wow.
Nice.
Yeah, the guy that won it was from Rotorua, and I think he ran like a 2:36 or something.
Yeah.
So he was well ahead of me.
Yeah.
But that was a really great experience.
Yeah.
Over there. They gave me a big hamper, actually.
Oh, really?
And because I only had carry-on luggage, I
no.
had to give the hamper back to them. It was full of like Masashi, is that how you say it?
Oh, the protein stuff.
protein bars and drinks and all sorts of stuff.
Yeah. Oh, that's funny. So how did you feel in that race compared to the others, or just in general?
So I felt strong. I felt like I'd got used to the marathon by then, Luke. Like I knew what I was doing, and I knew what. By that point, I'd also worked out fueling. I think it had taken me about those 4 maras to actually know what works for my body.
Yeah.
In terms of how many gels. So
what was that process like? Just yeah.
So I took 5 gels with me. So I do 3 Morton non-caff gels and 2 caffeinated gels. So I would carry 5, and I could fit all 5 into the Aerosmith tights.
Do you put them in the back?
Yeah, so 2 in the back, 2 in the front.
There's in the front?
There's little pockets in the front.
Okay.
Yeah. They're very small.
We'll know for next time. Yeah.
And then I would do a 5th one in the zipper section at the back.
I put all mine in the zipper.
Did you?
Yeah, maybe that's a bad idea.
Well, then you don't know which is which, right?
Yeah.
When you pull them
I was telling the game. Anyway, sorry.
And then I had the pickle juice in there as well for the cramping.
Okay.
How'd the pickle juice go? Or you didn't need it?
Yeah, it was the first time I took it, Dom, and it was horrible. It's like,
Pickle juice? What? That's
it's called Cramp Fix.
Okay.
Yeah. And I don't know how it works in terms of it's supposed to reduce your cramping.
I don't get it, yeah.
I'm not sure.
Does it work?
Yeah.
I think it helped.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I didn't cramp in that race till about 39K.
Oh, okay.
Maybe even 40.
Okay.
So it was pretty good.
Right.
Yeah, and it's such a good feeling when you know you're holding the right pace.
Yeah.
And you're not slipping. Like that is just such a. I mean, you guys would.
Yeah. When do you get
a great
to?
Feeling.
At what point is that at? Like maybe 35K and you're still on pace.
Probably
you're like,
35.
You're like, oh yeah.
Yeah.
So
5 gels. I think maybe I took a Revy strip pre-race.
Oh yeah.
That's a bit pretty standard for me.
How much caffeine? I think you mentioned in the past you don't normally take too much caffeine during training and stuff like that.
No, I tend to use the Morton non-caffeinated gels in training.
Yeah.
Or the goo gels, whatever I've got laying around. But I try to steer towards the non-caff. Only because I really enjoy my coffee more afterwards.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah. That's
like
true.
the coffee reward post-run.
Yeah. Yeah. So you felt strong, right? Pretty much till the end.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. And then that was 240.
245.
245. So obviously you're chuffed with that.
I was very happy with that.
Yeah.
And then off to Chicago.
Yeah, that was the plan, Dom.
Yeah.
And then, had my bad accident in July. I was on track for Chicago, and I was chasing 2 hours 40 for that. That was the plan, and all my training was heading in that direction. Jerome had me on a really good program for that. We thought we'd take the kids skiing for the first time since they were born. So we went down to Mount Hotham for a week with another family. And do you want me to tell this story?
Please.
Okay. We stopped at Albury on the way down. I ran the park run there. I think I did a 17:40 or something.
Yeah.
Racing some 16.
Yeah, I saw that on the Strava actually. Yeah.
And then the next day we got up to the resort, but it was a lot of road closures and things. And I was just desperate to get on the snow. It had been, a long time. I grew up snowboarding a couple of times a year, so I was pretty good on the half pipes and jumps and that sort of, the snowboard parks. And, my 16-year-old was sort of giving me a bit of grief about, Dad, you'll be a bit of a has-been, and I think you've lost it. And I was thinking in my head, well, you'll see, which is never a good thing. So, we got there. We hired our gear. It was just a real rush, like to to get onto the snow. And when we got onto the snow, first run of the day, I showed my son and his two mates, just taught them a few basics on the trail, and we were on quite an advanced trail as the first one, but I thought it doesn't matter, let's just go, I'm keen. And then I lost control. My Garmin told me I think I was doing about 60k an hour.
Jesus.
And I hit the edge of the trail, and it launched me up into the air, and I saw a canopy of trees below me, and then I turned my back to protect. I must have been instinctively trying to protect my head, and I hit a eucalyptus trunk and felt all my ribs break, and then I fell from the point of where I hit the tree, probably a few meters up. I fell down into the soft snow, and then it was like, oh, okay, I've done something bad here. So they got me off the mountain. They took me to Wangaratta Hospital in Victoria. It took hours and hours.
Were you conscious?
Yeah, I was conscious all through that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Jeez.
How long did it take for them to get to you?
It took my son and his mates probably about 20 minutes to find me, and I couldn't yell because I had a punctured lung, so I couldn't get any air in to yell for help.
Yeah.
And I was a long way below where the trail was, the ski trail. So they came up looking for me,
right.
and eventually found me. And I think if they hadn't have found me, I probably, I probably would have died there, I suspect. But unbeknownst to me, had a damaged aorta. So had a grade 3 tear in my aorta, which is like your essentially your largest artery in your body, attached to the top of your heart. So so they took a while to get me off the mountain. They punctured my lung. They had to drain my lung before the ambulance would take me. Got me to the hospital in Wangaratta. They scanned me. They said, this is really, this is quite serious. We need to airlift you to Melbourne. They airlifted me to Melbourne in a little prop plane. And then I was in intensive care then for about just over 2 weeks, I think. And it was a bit touch and go at points there. They had to, there were a couple of operations. The first one was the fixing my aorta with a big stent in there. So it's like a mesh stent. Then they had to put a coil into my spleen because I'd ruptured my spleen.
Jeez.
Also damaged my left kidney as well. So I was in a bit of a mess.
Far out.
I was on sort of breathing tube and feeding tube, and
You're still conscious the whole time?
No, I don't. There was about a week and a half. I don't remember, Dom.
Yeah, right.
In intensive care. So people were flying down from Sydney and Wollongong to visit family and friends, and and then they put me back into a trauma ward for another week or two. And then the vascular surgeon came and sat with me, and he said, "Look, you're really lucky to make it through this. Your cardiovascular health has saved your life here. You wouldn't have made it if you weren't as fit as you were."
Wow.
I'd also, one of the other operations was to basically open up the left side of my body and screw titanium plates in to fix all my ribs back together. So I've got I think 5 plates and 38 screws in my left side of my ribs, so I can still feel that now.
Yeah, right.
So it was going to be a very long recovery from that point. And it was really hard to let go of that Chicago dream, you know, that 240.
Yeah, far out.
Because it just changes like that. You've just got to, everything changes, you know. So I lost a lot of weight. The muscle stripped off my body during the time I was in hospital, so I dropped from 83 kilos down to 66.
Jeez. Wow.
And my wife Sue had to drive me back from Melbourne to Sydney. Once they let me out of the hospital down there, I was like a frail old man. And from that point, a lot of rehab at home. I had a physio that would come in and visit and put bands on my legs and just try to get these muscles and legs moving again, and eventually started walking. I remember my first walk was, I think, 3 or 4 houses up the street and back. It was that kind of, it's just,
Yeah, what was that like?
It was weird. I was just really focused on getting back to full health.
Yeah.
You know, like I think because my level of fitness had saved my life essentially, I just wanted to get back to that.
Yeah.
You know, there was a real drive and ambition and determination to get back to that. So I thought I'll just do whatever I have to do to get there. But it was really, really, really tough, and it was particularly tough on my wife Sue and the family because they had to see me go through all that.
Yeah.
But anyway, it's long journey, and I've had amazing support from the run clubs. I had Kirribilli runners, Delta, and Rhodes runners got together. I think Buzz was from Delta was one of the organisers, along with Steve from KR, and they organised a GoFundMe page to raise some funds to help with the rehab, and that covered pretty much all of the cost of all the specialists and everything. So there's so much to be said for what an amazing running community we've got in Sydney. Like, really just awesome people.
Yeah, absolutely. I find it pretty incredible that running pretty much saved your life in a way.
Yeah, it did. It absolutely did, Luke. Yeah. So the realisation is that I think to myself, if I'd stayed on the same trajectory that I was on when I was in my 20s and 30s, then that would have been it.
Yeah, shit.
Yeah, it's just wow. Hang on.
Yeah.
So you have a whole new appreciation for life and staying fit.
Yeah. Were there any concerns from the doctors that you would never be able to run again or get to some sort of level?
They didn't really talk about that, Dom, in the hospital.
Yeah.
They explained that I was going to be in a very different situation to where I was before, and that I would need some help. So, I was put on a mental health plan to help with that.
Yeah.
Because it's like this absolute shock of everything. Your whole life changes. Everything around you changes. So, no, we didn't really know.
Okay. Well, I guess that's promising and probably kept you going then.
It did. Yeah.
So what was the rehab process? What did you have to do in terms of rehab?
So I had to go back to a respiratory physio who would do some work with my lungs. My regular running physio gave me a lot of exercises to rebuild my upper body because essentially, having a long cut down through all my muscles of my back where they did all the work, I had to rebuild all that strength in my upper body. I still, and I guess also the legs too, I had to get the muscle mass back because when I remember looking at my legs, it's just like sticks of bone. So a lot of physio, Luke, a lot of scans. They had to check that the graft in my aorta wasn't causing issues everywhere else.
Right.
So they actually found that graft is blocking 75% of my left subclavian artery, so the artery that feeds my left arm.
Right.
But because my heart is quite strong, it's actually got good pulse rates in my fingers, and they're not too concerned. Yeah, but I have to take aspirin now every day for the rest of my life to keep the blood flowing through there.
Oh.
Yeah.
Right.
And then the recommendations were really around keeping your heart rate low. So even with walking, Dom, I was watching my heart rate, and if I'd get to steps, I could go up 3 or 4 steps. I'd pause, let my heart rate come back down. I'd go again. They were concerned that the blood pressure on that aortic stent could cause an issue. So, I don't work in medical, but I've learnt a bit about what I've got going on there. So
in a way, they slowly built you back
yeah,
to be able to pump your heart to be able to support.
That's right. Yeah, they explained to me that the graft in the aorta is like a scaffold, and it will take the aortic wall or that artery wall about 12 months to rebuild around that scaffold.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah, it's a slow process. So their concern was they didn't want too much pressure against the wall, the aortic wall, while it was trying to repair.
Right.
Yeah.
So how long after did you then build back to run, like slow walk?
I think I started walking. I would have got back to Sydney. So the accident was July, so I probably got back into Sydney late August, and then I probably started walking pretty soon after that. Like I was keen to get moving. So August, and then September I probably started light jog walk sort of routine.
Yep.
And then just kept progressing from there really.
And how quickly were you allowed to start then doing 5K
Well, I could really run any, like they left it to me in terms of how far at the volume I could run.
Yep.
But they wanted me to stay within or below 70% of my maximum heart rate.
Okay.
So for me, that was around the 140. That was a kind of number I had in my head, 140 to 145. So I just stuck to that, which meant really I couldn't do sessions, but I could run.
Yeah.
And I was happy just to be running.
Yeah. What was that like when you went back to jogging?
It was weird. So my first jogging was at walking pace. So I wasn't going any quicker than what I would walk, but there was something really nice about lifting my feet off the ground in a jogging motion.
Yeah.
And I thought, this feels really cool. Running very, very slow, but it was just that I was lifting my feet a little bit quicker. So, when you don't have it, you miss it so much. When running is such a big part of your life.
And then when did you get back to doing more like not even a session or?
I remember first sessions were probably around the beginning of this year, Luke.
Yep.
I remember doing one when we were away up at Coffs Harbour in January. And then, started doing the Delta sessions probably around then when I got back from summer holidays in January. But really, I would sometimes adjust the rest period say if there was a 1 minute standing rest or a 60-second standing rest in the session we were doing, I'd just go, okay, I'll look at the heart rate. If it's not quite there, I'm going to do 2 minute standing rest. And I'll let that heart rate come right down before I go back up to that 145. And it was just about managing it.
Yeah.
The frustration was that I couldn't really run with people like at that point.
Yes. Obviously, your mind would want to get back a lot quicker than you.
Oh, absolutely.
You're like, So it's managing that. Yeah.
It is. Yeah.
All right. So you just ran a marathon recently. So
I did. Yeah.
Yeah. How was that?
So it was really good actually. Yeah. It's so good to be back running the marathon. So I guess I'd strung together about 4 or 5 weeks of around 100K. And I just wanted to tick that box off. Like it had been a long time since I'd run one.
Yeah.
And so I was looking at potentially going down to Ballarat. Thought that could work.
Oh, yeah.
And then I was looking at other options. And then actually it was Buzz Keith that said to me, there's actually one in Shell Harbour in April. I thought, that's perfect because that's my hometown down in Wollongong.
Yeah.
I'll go down for that. It's, we can visit family while we're down there. And so we went down, pretty emotional, Luke, really. Like I was really looking forward to it. I was really excited for it. And I had, the shoe option was a bit of a challenge. Like I had my Alpha Fly ones, which I love. with 650 Ks on them.
Yeah, right.
And I had my brand new unboxed Vaporfly 3s that I bought a year earlier.
Okay.
Oh, right.
And they were sitting in my wardrobe.
Yeah.
And they're sort of like, ooh, don't know which way to go here. But I had one run in the Vaporfly 3s before it.
Yeah.
And I thought they feel pretty good.
They're good too.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so I ran in those and, had mum and my brother and sister down there and their families, and my wife Sue and my daughter Isla was there as well, who's 9. So they were on the course cheering me on. Each time I'd see mum, I'd see a few tears there each time I'd pass her.
Yeah.
But I found a really good pack, and we probably went out a little bit too quick. I think we went out at about 4:24 pace, 4:25s. Which for me is probably about 10 seconds slower than my threshold pace, so it was probably a little bit ambitious.
Yeah.
But the guy next to me got chatting, probably talking a little bit too much in the first 21K, which is never a good thing either, but
gets you through the first bit all right though.
yeah, he was a paramedic, and I thought, oh well, maybe this is meant to be. I'm probably meant to be next to this guy. So
who was chatting? Who was instigating the chat?
Oh, he was doing a lot of the chatting.
Were you like, mate, just...
Yeah, I was trying not to talk too much. At 21K, he sort of said, oh, yeah, I'm going to blow up here. You better keep going. So that was it.
I'm going to blow up.
And then I got to 28 and my calves really started cramping badly, but on the inside of my calves. And it was with every step, the whole calf would like grab. I was like, oh, this is not good. So I grabbed the cramp fix out, shoved that down. And then they just kept grabbing. It was like, oh, this is tough. So then...
The inside, did you say?
Yeah, on the inside, sort of up in here.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah, so I don't know if it was the shoes and maybe...
Oh, yeah.
I know I've got a bit of a slight crossover gait.
Okay.
So, yeah, it could have been causing a bit of an issue on one of my... Anyway, I don't know, but that last, 13, 14K was a real grind, like... Chris Gatt jumped in and helped me.
There,
And, really wrestled through that. I don't think I was ready mentally for the fight with the marathon. Like, normally I go into the maras really ready for the battle, but I don't think... This time I was just really excited about it, and I wasn't kind of fully tuned in. I think you've got to be really ready for that last 10, 15K in the maras. Finished and just happy to get over the line. It was so good. Chris was an absolute champion, and Sue, my wife, and mum was there, and it was just it was great. They had ice baths at the end.
I saw a photo of you too. Yeah.
That was good.
Yeah,
they were 6 degrees. It's pretty cold.
Yeah, that's right.
It's $5, and you can go in for as long as you want, but it's 6 degrees. Let's see how long you last.
But I saw some video. You picked it up at the end, like you started charging at the end.
Yeah, I did. I think I was sitting around 10th. Not the position mattered to me, but I was in 10th, and then 2 guys just came, past me in the last. It was around a K to go, and and I really tried to fight to stay in front of them, but I couldn't. So I think I finished about 3 seconds behind them, but I put in a bit of an effort to try and catch them.
Yeah. Did you sort of reflect after, like, how far you've come in such a short period of time?
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah?
Yeah. Not immediately after, but I suppose over the last week or so, Luke, I've had a good chance to have a think about that.
Yeah.
I think talking about walking 2 or 3 houses away and stuff to now is like...
Incredible.
Yeah. I mean, the human body is just awesome.
It's crazy.
It's just unbelievable that you can do that.
To repair like that.
Yeah, it's just incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what's your plan? What's next?
So I've got an entry for Chicago. Which I rolled over from last year.
Yeah.
I haven't booked accommodation or flights yet, but I'm I'm hoping that come July at the 12 months period, I'll be able to then essentially go to full intensity running.
Yeah.
Because at the moment I'm sort of moderate to high.
Yeah.
I've still got to manage that heart rate.
So they're going to look at the...
They'll do another CT scan in July, and then hopefully he'll say, the specialist will say you're okay to go.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Because I remember I think it was Feb when you got the next sort of stage.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
Yeah, and they can just tell by how it looks. Or,
they were checking that the stent graft hadn't moved and there was no cracking or any issue there, and so that was all clear. But he said, "I'm not going to let you off the leash yet."
Because once you're off the leash,
So hopefully Chicago, Luke.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And you guys have got Gold Coast,
Goldie around
Gold Coast.
that time.
Yeah.
Very exciting.
Yeah.
Chicago seems like it'll be a good one.
It would be.
Yeah.
Flat and fast and
flat and fast.
Just
weather.
It's an expensive.
I'm sure. Yeah.
Trip.
Yeah. How long would you plan to go for?
I was looking at only going for 5 or 6 days.
Yeah. Okay. So
fly in and fly out. Again, sort of thing.
Why Chicago? Any particular reason?
Well, I qualified. That was where the age group world championships were. Last year.
Yep.
So because I'd qualified for that. Yeah.
Okay.
And I think the concern is that I don't know where I can go from here with my Maritimes. It's sort of hard to. It's a bit of an unknown.
Yeah.
So it would be nice to do Chicago because may never qualify again for.
Yeah. True.
Just don't know.
Yeah. It'll be good once you get to that stage, so you can.
Yeah.
Then see how you go after that.
Yeah.
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 All right. So you started coaching as well.
I have.
Yeah.
Yes.
When was that something you're thinking about for a little bit, or?
I had a few people mention to me that you'd probably do quite well in coaching. I think you'd be good at it. So I guess off the back of the accident, it gave me some time to think about what I could do if I couldn't come back to the runner or be the runner that I used to be. So I looked into the coaching and I signed up for the level 1. I think it was around November last year I did that.
Yep.
Finished that by the end of December. So that was all done and dusted. That was the level 1 was fairly basic, but it was still a good course. And then I did my level 2 in March this year. I guess off the back of my level 1, Jerome from our club Delta reached out and said, would you be interested in hosting some sessions on the Northern Beaches? So I started to push that along with Georgia and just get things rolling. Buzz and Chris were involved in getting that going as well.
Yeah.
And that was really good to kind of practice some of the things I'd learnt through the level 1. But it's been a bit of a learning curve. And then started coaching Josh. Can't remember how long. A couple of months ago now. I guess. And I've had a few others approach me as well. So looking to take on a few more.
Josh is a good one to coach.
He's been excellent. Absolute superstar. I think the runner coach relationship has got to be, the communication's got to be really good there. Josh and I have worked very closely. We catch up once a week over the phone. We check in during the week. I kind of modify sessions slightly depending on how he feels. And we kind of walk that line between improving fitness but not getting injured. And we've at I think 2 points so far got a little close to the injury sort of threshold, and then we've adjusted slightly and we've come back from it.
When was that, do you reckon?
I think I'm trying to think, Luke.
Was it before Park Run?
Yes, I think it was before Park Run. The Rhodes Park Run.
Which was a great race, by the way.
That was a great race. I mean, my bias is probably towards building a really big aerobic base and aerobic strength. And I realised that, so I've got to be aware of that being my bias as a coach. But I think it pays dividends even in the shorter stuff. A lot of people will get their 5K PBs in Mara blocks. We've seen it before. And
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, I'm enjoying that. Really enjoying the coaching.
Yeah,
it's good.
Well, Josh is killing it at the moment. Big PB in the 5K. And then
yes.
we've got Sydney 10.
Sydney 10's his next one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thoughts on doing another 5K before then?
For Josh?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Okay. There's your answer, Josh. I'm a bad influence, though. You should ban me from speaking to.
Save it for June. The Chiefs
Challenge 5K. Yeah. So what's your general structure been like for, like how will you approach the program, for example? Like with Josh, like Delta Tuesday?
Yeah, Delta Tuesday, session on Friday, and then long run, we're throwing in the odd workout within the long run, but we don't really need to. Like it's more just to kind of give him a bit of variety.
Yeah.
But then we can shuffle things around. We just had a chat earlier about moving this Sunday's long run to Saturday so that he can get involved sort of spectating Hocker on Sunday. So we're just prepared to move things a little bit. Yeah.
What do you typically like to do on the second session?
So I kind of like to try and complement whatever we do on the Tuesday. So I'm going to... fortunately, I get to have some input on Tuesday's sessions with, Jerome, Keith, and a few of the others. So we all communicate and come up with different suggestions for the Tuesday. And then normally I've got a session in there for Josh on the Friday that will kind of complement that. So it could be like a longer, it could be a tempo 7 or 8K tempo. Could be if we've done some standing rest intervals on the Tuesday, we might look at doing a fartlek where we're adjusting working with different speeds, but it's continuous. The hills, I'm throwing in the hills every now and then. I think it's good to do that. Keep the strength up. Just mix it up a bit. And now bringing in some doubles, so he's doing some doubles.
Are you a fan of the doubles?
Yeah, I like them. I like them. Yeah.
What do you normally do, like 30 minutes?
Yeah, 30 minutes.
30 minutes.
Yeah. 20 to 30 minutes. I don't think it needs to be much. Just on grass. I think I don't know if it was on your podcast or another that you were talking about like a lightheadedness in the doubles.
Yeah, that's me.
I used to struggle with that too, Luke. I'd get a weird sweat and sort of lightheadedness in those. But I think that's partly down to maybe not fueling enough during the day. Between the two.
Interesting, because when I did the double this week, I felt fine. And I had quite a big lunch, and I'm not sure, but that was probably the first one that felt okay.
Yeah, right.
So
maybe the big lunch. Yeah.
It could just be adapting to it as well, maybe. But I think the fuel will definitely help.
Yeah. It was like a weird, like I needed I don't know, sugar levels or something. I don't know. I needed like chocolate. It just felt like I needed to eat something.
Yeah.
Or when I've previously done doubles, it was a weird feeling. Sometimes I used to get that when we used to train. We did long runs in the evening.
Oh yeah.
Ages ago, I would just feel like lightheaded or like just no energy. But then I would just come out of it after. Yeah, it's weird. I'm not sure. We got a listener question from Josh as well. Okay. This is not really running related, but what's your favourite beer for an afternoon run on a Sunday?
Oh,
this is up my alley as well.
So it would have to be. So I really like mountain culture beers.
Oh yeah.
They would be my pick.
Yeah.
I like their oat cream IPA.
Ooh.
is a lovely beer, or New England IPA.
Okay.
Oak cream. Is that like a...
Sounds like a
dark beer?
stout.
Stout?
almost.
No, it's not a stout. No,
Yeah.
no,
Okay.
but it's just a slightly different flavour to the IPA.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they're a 500 ml can, and they tend to be a stronger beer, so it's a bit of a sipper.
We're going to
But,
have some of them.
But yeah, I think Sundays is nice to, if you've got you've finished your mileage for the week. It's, for me, I really like to have a beer on a Sunday after. I've got the K's done. I probably haven't earned it this week, but
I should have beers. Oh, I'm trying to be good.
yeah.
Yeah, okay, cool.
Good question.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Should we talk about your segment?
Oh, yeah. So I guess like you spoke a little bit about Morton.
Yes.
Is that your nutrition sort of preference?
Yeah, it's what I haven't really tried too many others, Dom. Only the goo gels. Yeah. So I think when I got onto Morton, I just kind of stuck there with it.
Yeah.
I've tried. I tried Precision once, and I thought they were good, but I haven't. I've gone into Pace, and often they've sort of sold out of them, and they've just got the Morton, so I've just stick with what I know.
Yeah. Fair enough.
Yeah.
And you said the pickle juice is good. Is there any other, I guess, like nutrition sort of stuff that you'd go to, or I guess even like with your diet, is there anything you kind of swear by?
Oh, I mean, yeah, the usual carb loading, like a few days out.
Yeah.
I would do that. A lot of fluids. I try to eat a banana before my long runs on Sundays.
Yeah, that's a good one.
And I really notice a difference if I don't eat the banana.
Yeah.
Sometimes I go up to the fruit bowl on a Sunday morning.
It's got to be banana.
And there's not one there. It's like, I think caffeine can be really helpful too, like in races. Like Sydney 10, I would always have taken a Revy's extra strength 5 minutes before the race and just stick it on the roof of my mouth and let that dissolve. No gels in a 10, obviously, but a gel in the half, usually halfway through, and have a second one there in case. Breakfast, I probably eat more on the lighter side before events. I probably should eat a bit more than I do, but a good couple of hours before the race, I want to make sure I've eaten.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've always been someone that prefers to run with a more empty stomach and not have, food in their processing. So,
Yeah. Huh. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
What about before sessions?
Nothing.
Nothing.
Nothing at all. Just sips of water.
Yeah. Right.
Same with me.
Yeah. No food.
Yeah.
Would you have food before a session?
I don't mind. Yeah, bananas like the go-to, and the sessions have been like it's usually about 20 k's of running, so I don't mind having something.
Yeah.
Even if pull into the servo sometimes after work and grab like a drink or something. Just to have something.
Yeah.
I feel like I'd be more inclined to eat before a session if I did an afternoon or evening though. Yeah, because in the morning you don't really feel like eating first thing, like before Gore Hill, for example.
Yeah.
But yeah, anyway.
Even in the morning though, I like banana. I feel like it's like rocket fuel for me, and like I don't know, maybe it's just like a mental thing where I have a banana and I'm like good to go. Yeah.
It's just a cue. It's just a mental cue.
Yeah.
Oh, no, it's probably good for you as well.
Yeah, I'm sure it can't hurt. Yeah.
But no coffee before sessions?
Oh yeah, always coffee.
Yeah, always coffee. Yeah.
But yeah, the Revy strips sounds interesting.
Yeah, they're really good. They're great.
Yeah, Buzz gave me something to try, and they were good.
Yeah, they're great.
Which one do you take? The
extra strength.
100. It's like 100
milligrams, I think. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So how does that compare to a cup of coffee, I guess?
I've never done the coffee before
a
race, Dom. And I wouldn't do coffee now before sessions because it would push my heart rate slightly higher.
True, yeah, it does.
So that's why I avoid it.
That makes sense.
Yeah. And shoes, like what's the shoe rotation looking like?
Ooh. So I love my Super Blasts.
Oh, yeah.
ASIC Super Blasts.
They're so good, hey?
Yeah, they're great. So I use them for my midweek long run, or my recovery runs, and sometimes a Sunday long run. If I'm not in those for a Sunday long run, I'll use my Alpha Fly ones.
Oh, yeah.
Session, I'm in the Vaporfly 2s. I've got, I think, 2 pairs of the 2s, and I've got 1 pair of the 1s still kicking about, but they've got about 1,000 Ks on it.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So they're done. And yeah, the Vaporfly 3s, I've only just run in the recent marathon. So what else apart from that? I was on a bit of a run of the Nova Blast for a while.
Oh, yeah.
Had 2 pairs of the Nova Blast 3s.
Yeah.
Three pairs maybe.
Yeah,
Fall
right.
in love with the Nova Blast.
Well, I just found Super Blasts.
They got replaced. Yeah.
Yeah, but I would go back to I would like to try the Nova Blast 4s.
Yeah.
And the Speed 3s I was in as well, Dom, but I've pretty much retired those now.
Okay.
They didn't feel like a fast shoe to me.
Yeah,
the
right.
Speed 3s.
Yeah.
The 2s, I think the Speed 2s were awesome.
Yeah, I think I
They were an
agree
epic
that.
shoe.
Yeah, I had like the Pro, and I liked the earlier Endorphin Pro models to the
Yes.
3. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've fallen. You know how I bought the 3s? The 4s, Speed 4s.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Saucony, yeah.
Yeah.
After wearing them for a bit, unfortunately, I like the Super Blast better. I was like, but you can't buy them.
Super
They
Blast.
still. Oh no, I think maybe that's because I only shop at Pace. I probably should check other. Yeah, but I probably would try maybe like Super Blast, and then running something for the easy day. Maybe not even Nova Blast, like the gel like
Kayanos
yeah,
or
maybe
Nimbus,
something. Yeah, Nimbus. Yeah.
Mm.
I don't know. Try running in like a more stable or like bigger cushion shoe.
Mm.
I'll try that next. Maybe I don't know. But
Get the Hockers on.
get the Hockers on. Nah, after they gave me blisters, they're probably like quite a lot of people rave about them, but I got blisters and never tried them again.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Seems like ASICS is sort of dominating though at the moment. Like,
It feels that way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was Saucony for a while.
yeah.
But now it feels like ASICs are.
Mm.
Yeah.
Because they
every day
got
or
that
something.
new Paris.
Yeah.
So Tobias was going on about that shoe, saying he would even prefer it over the Vaporfly.
Really?
3,
Wow.
which is he's a big shoe guy as well. So
Yeah.
that's a big rap.
Wow.
So I'm keen to try them, but I've got too many shoes now because he actually gave me the 2 pairs of Vaporfly 1s that he never wore because he didn't like them.
Really?
Wow.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
They're a good shoe.
Yeah. So I'm very spoiled. Yeah, anyway. So I'll definitely get through. Those are great shoes. They were such a good shoe. I was even contemplating wearing a fresh pair for Sydney 10 or something like that because they're a little bit, I don't know. I feel like for a shorter distance they might be, but probably just wear Alpha Flies. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Are you going to get Alpha Fly 3s?
Yeah, probably should get around to that. I will.
Yeah.
Just need to make the purchase.
Did you wear yours today, Luke?
Not today. I wore Alpha Fly 2s.
Okay.
Because I'm going to save them for Hocker. Sydney 10 and Gold Coast.
Awesome.
Because, not sure. You never know with stock levels if you'll get another pair or something like that. So, yeah, they felt really good.
Mm.
I liked them.
Mm.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Other equipment? So, how you
anything
like
else?
your watch? We both
I
got
love.
this.
Yeah. So the 965. Yeah, I love it.
Yeah.
It's good. My eyes aren't the best, so it's very easy to be able to at a glance see, like your lap pace, things like that, or my heart rate. It's just important to be able to look at it and see it quickly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You tend to get a bit focused on things like sleep score and race predictions and all sorts.
So you use it for the sleep and everything as well?
Well, it does. Yeah. Do you keep yours on all the time?
I have the Oura-Ring.
Oh yes.
So
yeah.
and I tend to wear other watches like during the week at work. So I don't keep it on all the time.
Oh, so I keep mine on constantly.
So you get good data.
I do
from
get
it.
good data. Yeah.
The the heart rate variability is like really interesting. I found like
It is.
that like really correlated when I was feeling like shit. That was really down,
Yes.
and when it came good, I'm going good. But yeah,
Yeah, that is very true. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't quite understand that HRV,
Yeah, I don't really
but
know. Yeah.
I know if it's low, then my body's generally a bit more fatigued, and I've got to be a bit careful.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're quite clever. So yeah, love the watch, love my Garmin chest strap.
Yeah.
Which chest strap is like a...
So it's a heart rate monitor pro.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, it's sort of got a green emblem on it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And it just connects automatically, like...
Yeah, Bluetooth.
So when you put it on, it just like...
So when you put it on, it's not the watch doesn't detect it, but as soon as you hit run, and when it starts searching for GPS, it must enable the Bluetooth on the watch, and then it'll say HRM Pro connected.
Yeah.
And then you're on.
Yeah, easy.
Do you turn the wrist heart rate off? Just
No.
Okay.
I probably should though.
I was wondering just in case it like switches.
Yeah,
But
probably.
it probably won't if it's connected.
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's about it really
Yeah.
in terms of gear. We don't need much as runners. That's the beauty of it.
Yeah. Except for shoes.
Yeah.
So many different shoes.
But I've just bought the Alpha Fly 3s as well.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah. Did you get them when it got posted in the
I did.
Delta chat?
Yeah. So I'm excited to try those. Yeah.
Have they arrived?
Yes.
Oh yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, good.
I've worn them in the lounge room.
yeah.
And then my son said, "Oh, they look fun. Can I try them?"
Did I tell you about when they arrived? Because they arrived at my parents' place. And
Yes.
My dad, I FaceTime with Dad, and he like saw the colour and was like, "What the hell are these?" Puts like a face visor on. Because I was just dicking around, but
Too bright.
Yeah, too bright. Asking if I plug it in overnight and stuff like that. But I think they're a good looking shoe. I like the colour.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, any more questions, Tom?
I think that's it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think we covered it.
Awesome.
Yeah. Well, yeah, thanks for joining and sharing your stories and stuff like that. And
Thanks.
look forward to seeing what the next 6 months are like and continue training with you, obviously. So
Yeah.
it's been good. Thanks for joining.
No, it's been great. Thanks for the chat, guys. I've enjoyed it. And good luck at Hocker and with GC for both of you.
Yeah. Cheers.
It'll be very exciting to see
good.
what you can do there. Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks for coming on. Yeah.
Awesome.